Students of music make exceptional programmers. Why is that a thing? Why do people who love music generally do really well at programming? That's the topic on today's Programming Profit Formula. How many of you played a musical instrument in junior high or high school, or you can read sheet music? Be honest, I'm not going to judge. The longer I work in this field, the more I'm surprised by the number of people that played an instrument either in junior high or high school, or studied musical theory and eventually became software developers. A large number of people that I know who are software developers were at one point musicians, or they studied music. So why is that? What's the deal? Why is there a link between them? One of my favorite answers to this is actually a Quora answer that comes from Mike Caldwell. And he replies with, "Music is stored language. Musicians that learn to read music are reading a language that they themselves are then the processor for that recreates the sound." He goes on to say that there's actually a core mathematical link between the two. Neither of them actually use high-level mathematics. There's no algebra really being done in music, nor is there the same in most programming. But they still share a math commonality. They still have a logical and sequential order to them. Things make sense, if that makes sense. To me, this is really the answer, because things that make logical sense are correct to me. And I know a lot of developers think that same way, where if they can quantify how it should happen and guess what's coming next, in their minds, that sequential order is what makes a logical thing. This is the same thing with a lot of programmers and a lot of musicians. So back to my question. Are you a musician? Can you read sheet music? If you can, you probably would be a good developer. You just have to put in the effort. Now, another correlation between musicians and developers is the understanding of long-term commitments and persistence. No, I'm not talking about relationships. Totally different. Anyone who plays an instrument really well understands that this does not happen overnight. Sure, there are prodigies, but those prodigies are very far and few between. Generally, learning an instrument takes a long time. There's an old saying that it takes roughly 10,000 hours before you can call yourself a master at something. The best musicians have absolutely practiced more than those 10,000 hours. And here's where the core tenet is. Those musicians that understand that it takes that time to practice to get there, but that they will eventually become the master of it, is the same logic that goes into programming. People study a lot. They learn a lot. It takes a long time to learn programming because the difficulty curve is challenging. Getting past the initial hurdles is where most people give up. Most people don't bother to learn once they get to the hard parts of programming, the same way most people who are trying to learn an instrument or trying to read sheet music give up after saying this is pretty difficult. Those people who understand that it's a long-term commitment and that you will eventually become a master through trial and error are the ones who understand that they would be exceptional developers. And honestly, that matches the description of most of the people I know who work in the field who are musicians at heart. So are you one of those people? Are you a musician at heart? Do you play an instrument, or can you read sheet music well because you spend a great deal of time learning it and it's still somewhere in your brain despite you not having played an instrument for years? Odds are good, you probably would make a very good developer. I highly recommend that you check out programming as a career. It's a lucrative field, it's a rewarding field, and it's one that I love and I think you might too. If you're not sure how to get started in it, check out some more of my free videos on YouTube, or check out my course, The Programming Profit Formula, where I teach you how to go from zero experience with no coding whatsoever to a professional developer in as little as 6 months' time. The link is in the description below, and the first 100 people that use the code word MUSIC will get $100 off the full course price. Thanks for watching and have a great day.